Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Ignacio Esteban. So, El Chapo was in the news recently. Did you hear
Yeah,
that?
he did his own
He,
appeal, right?
yeah, he put appeal in, and he didn't use his lawyers. He put it in
Wow.
by himself. He didn't use no legal representation. I heard that he's trying to cut deals in there. He's trying to get out any way possible. I heard he's miserable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. He's trying to say that he had bad representation
Mm,
and that the prosecutors were unfair, of course. Whiny. He had his appeals, he lost them. So he's trying to get a second bite of the apple for a new trial
yeah.
on his own. I think he may have maybe someone help him review it, I hope, because if not, the chance of that being successful is second to none, right? Zero.
Yeah.
So I think he's pretty much staying there the rest of his life. He knows it. He may have some health issues. Oh, this guy also was tricky. I'll tell you an interesting story that came out of him recently with Ignacio. He was reported he was dead. That came out in a few months ago. I guess he has some kidney issues. You have this kind of money, you build your own private hospitals, and he had one in Guadalajara built because you can't go to public hospitals like everybody else does. And I guess he had a respiratory infection, and it was reported that he had died in the hospital. But the president even spoke about it. Lopez Obrador said, "No, this is false reports." He doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe it. DA doesn't believe it. Intelligence doesn't believe it. They think it's just sent out there to make people think they may be dead, but so he can hide more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
I have a picture of El Chapo in the Supermax. It's a new
nice.
picture. They say it's a new picture of him inside there. So I'll show it to you. Have you seen this yet?
Hmm. Doesn't look too happy, does he?
Mm-mm. No, he don't look too happy there.
He was a king of the world, and look at him now.
Mm.
That's what
There's
we have to
his.
do. Unfortunately, the Mexican government couldn't handle him.
To
So
all the kings in the world, this would be your throne if
This
that's
this
what
is
you
that
want.
that was my conclusion in both these books. Well, especially the one I just did now. It's going to end one of two ways for this guy El Mencho. Either he's going to end up like El Chapo, right, in the supermax, or he's going to be assassinated. One
Yeah.
of the two ways. I got a feeling he doesn't want to end up like him. He's going to go out, in a hail of bullets because I don't think a lot of these guys, when they live this kind of life, want to end up like this guy. And he's like, wow,
Stuck in a
that's
little box, rotten. You're years away. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, well, good. That's what he deserves. He deserves worse, but that's a good way from an end. So, but now they also have the U.S. government has a reward for his sons, little chapitos, right? That's why they call them little chapitos, the little chapels, right? He has four sons, and allegedly they're part of they're helping run the organization now.
But there was
So,
a firefight, and they ended up giving the sons back. So what's up with
yeah,
that? I mean,
yeah, I saw that. That's corruption there. I
but
mean,
so that's after all that, after the firefight, they want the sons over here and put him in the cell with next to his dad.
probably not next to his dad, but they'll be somewhere in isolation. The
They're in
whole
for a
family.
world.
We're gonna have the family of Los Chapels in the Supermax.
Yeah, yeah, the whole family.
The
The
whole
wife's
family.
in there too right now, right? She's locked up.
Yes, the whole. It's a family affair. It's a family affair, man. These
Wow.
people don't learn. It's with the worst of the worst, right? You have the Unabomber, Theodore Kaczynski. You have Timothy McVeigh when he was alive, Terry Nichols, some of the worst terrorists, and some of the biggest drug lords end up there. And that's why they keep on. We just keep on bringing these guys in there because no one else can. Hold on, well, we got to do. At least we have to do something, right?
I got better ideas, things we could do with them.
I think put them to work. Do them something. Make them earn their room and board, right? Make them earn their meals.
I don't think they can do that anymore. Make people do
The
hard
chain
labor.
gang. No, the chain
Down
gang.
south they do. Down south they still do it.
The chain gang.
Yeah, they make you work hard. I heard.
Yeah, making big rocks into little rocks, right?
Yeah, no, thank you, man. I've been
All
there
righty.
and done that. It's not fun. So we're gonna move on to the election. I
All right.
really don't get into the election too much. I'm not really too political. A little bit, but not really. Um, I
That's
don't.
fair.
I really don't have an opinion about the election either way. I just think that the whole country's going in a bad, bad direction. It
Yeah.
really is. We need guidance from a leader who's really going to lead this country instead of divide us. You know.
Yeah, and I wrote a book about this in April, and I do also do a little politics. And so your audience knows I have a bachelor's degree in political science and history, and started my master's in international relations. And I've been following politics since since I can remember. I had a passion for it. I think the first election I remember was when Ronald Reagan beat Jimmy Carter in the 1980 election, which really I kind of became like a little young Reagan conservative Republican, and I kind of watched and followed him. And of course, Reagan has his issues. There's no question about it, but yeah, the issues we have with Joe Biden, I put in my book, my predictions were back in April that the midterm, I called it a red tsunami. It might end up being a red big tidal wave, but I do see the Republicans taking the House, and Nancy Pelosi will not be the Speaker of the House. And allegedly, they're saying that she knows the writings on the wall, that she wants to be the ambassador in Italy. That she's getting ready.
Best.
It's just,
Really?
she doesn't just want to be like a regular congressperson, right? She's
Yeah.
the Speaker of the House. You think she's going to want to be with the rank and file? No, no, she'd rather be the ambassador to Italy. Okay, her family has Italian heritage. She likes Italy, and then she's the ambassador. Well, that's a pretty good gig there. You get to travel all over the country. So I think she's plus a lady later in her years. So that's the rumor out there that she sees a writing on the wall that November 8th is the election, the midterm election. So the audience knows if I voted by mail. I had no problem voting by mail. I've been voting here in Virginia by mail since I've been here, which is a great convenience because I can't stand waiting those long lines sometimes. In Miami, you used to get some, pretty long lines. Even early voting was a disaster. So
Yeah.
I think that's great that we do it. It's certified. If you have a chance to do it, I just suggest everybody be part of the process, have faith in the process. A lot of people think, all these bad things about the elections and everything else. It has, like anything else, pros and cons, and you have to have faith in it. I mean, the following year in Virginia, after the controversial, they said 2020 election, which I think, Biden won. It is what it is. Trump did himself some favor, right? If I think he would have won, two things hurt him. I think it was COVID, obviously, with the economy, and
Yeah.
some of the stuff he put on Twitter, right, and stuff he says kind of upset a lot of people, pissed people off, right? And that's hard to win elections when you have the economy tanking, the market was tanking, and people were upset with him. So Biden won. Obviously, Biden has his issues here also. I mean, he has a lot of people think has health issues. A lot of people think his faculties aren't good. The highest inflation in 40 years,
It's
right?
insane. You can't even
That,
go buy food without like spending every penny in your pocket. It's
milk and
insane.
bread, common things, cars, furniture, everything is so expensive just to fill your tank up. It's like feels like double than it used to be, right? So it's hard. It all has an impact on the economy, crime, and a lot of people don't like it that he wanted to ban, assault rifles, right? I mean, your Second Amendment rights are so important to be able to protect yourself and your family. Like during the 90s when they banned assault rifles with the Clinton administration, it didn't work because there were a lot of workarounds and all the pre-bans. If you have one, you can keep it. So the pre-bans were legal. So people still had it out there. So
Yeah.
these so-called solutions with them are not solutions.
What do
You
you think
have
the
to address the
solution
problem.
is? What's the solution?
Well, I think I don't know with your show. I think the first one we did, we talked about the mass shootings, right? And I
Yeah.
talked about and other shows what the solutions are. The solutions is you have to address guys with mental health issues, right?
Yeah.
Look over and no, look at St. Louis. It just recently happened. It just keeps on going, and you need to make sure people are prepared to respond. And unlike Uvalde, I think we've talked about this. 70 minutes, that's unacceptable. You have to go immediately once this guy starts shooting and doing something there. So quick police response. If they don't respond, the teachers that want to protect their students are able to arm themselves and address a mass shooter before it gets, the point where they shoot all the kids in there. So you got to have better security at schools. You got to have, either federal police system or teachers arming themselves, or maybe even volunteers, parents who are trained for that. Anything you can to help protect the schools and stuff. And of course, good intelligence, because a lot of these kids, they put stuff on social media before it happens, right? They tell their friends, and it's out there. So if you see something, say something, right? That's the most
What
important
What do
thing.
you think about, because I think the internet's getting a little out of control with the people threatening people and people
Yeah.
going at other people. What do you This is my observation. I think they should make a task force, like a police agency for
Mhm.
the internet. They really should do that.
Yeah, it relies on people reporting it or something comes across. But if they get the information early enough, I mean, I know in Parkland, the FBI got sued and so the police department, and they lost millions of dollars for not reporting the information reference to Cruz. And he just got life, right? He
Yeah.
wasn't sentenced to death. I know the governor was upset and the families were upset that he didn't get the death penalty. So there's a lot of flaws in the system there. I think a lot of people believed he should have been executed for what he did.
I don't think he's going to have a very fun time in the Florida Department of Corrections.
No, no, and he shouldn't either. I mean, the horrors he did and stuff like that, and he put the stuff out there, and they should have moved faster. And they dropped the ball on Cruz a lot, also. So you see a lot of that where things should be addressed or not. That's a big problem. More policing of that. I think you need resource officers. That's not a bad idea. Have intel units that do look into prom children. They have prom kids, right, and see what they're posting. That's not a bad idea. And if get information, look more into it. They need to
Yeah.
do something. They need to be proactive because being reactive is not good. And letting people be armed themselves because even if you said you banned it, it's still out there and it's going to be available in the black market, right?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
still going to buy it. So
Do
I
you
think those,
think people should have military type weapons in the private sector?
I mean, it's out there already. So
Yeah.
the bad guys are going to have it. That's for sure.
Yeah, so if you take away the guns from the good guys, the bad guys still have the
The bad
guns.
guys have everything, man. You look at Mexico, the same thing, right? We talk about they have the strictest gun laws in the world, but the cartels have everything. And I keep on mentioning that before. And they have RPGs, they have machine guns, they have Barrett weapons, 50 caliber weapons. I mean, they have everything, weapons of war. So the bad guys are going to have everything too, because it's very easy. I'll use Florida as an example because I worked there so long, but it's like that in Texas and a lot of the red states, you see it, and some of the blue states also. That you go to the gun shows, you go to the flea markets, you go online. It's pretty much cash and carry. You go in there, you check it out, you order something, you meet people. They may look at your ID, they may not look at your ID. They don't care.
Could be people who are felons going in there and buying weapons, right?
A lot of times online, I've seen, and I did a lot of undercover like that, right? That's why I did ATF undercover with the book, and not just that, but I deal with international traffickers and domestic traffickers, right? Domestic traffickers, sometimes they're felons selling to felons, and I would buy the guns from felons, and they're online and they're posting. They got fictitious names, and you know how that is. It's all BS. And
Yeah.
they set up, you meet up at a parking lot somewhere, and you do a deal, and they're making money also. Or you go to gun show, flea market. It's all over. It's saturated. It's a big problem. So by banning weapons, you're weakening, you're victimizing us from protecting ourselves and families, and that's a big mistake.
So
And
if you
as an ATF agent, retired ATF agent, most of us that I know are very pro Second Amendment, and I want to make sure people understand that. We don't want to take people's guns away from those who are responsible citizens. But you're a bad person, you shouldn't have it. That's a problem, right? Repeat violent
yeah.
offenders should not have weapons. And that's what ATF does a lot. Gang members like you should do undercover, repeat violent offenders, armed drug traffickers, armed home invaders, right? Those are all bad apples, bad people that need to be addressed. So those are part of issues people should know about with the election. Think about, we do not want people, we don't want Democrats or anybody else getting our gun rights taken away from us. That is our constitutional right? It's a frontier nation, right? Independent people that want to protect themselves. If you wait for the police to come and save you after 15, 20 minutes with a home invader and you don't have a weapon, that's bad. And if you don't know how to use it and you have one, that's not the time to learn either.